Good morning, everybody.
Morning, morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we are again here for another episode of our series Why Beauty Matters.
What did Gilbert say last time? The Three Musketeers,
We're
right?
here as the Three Musketeers.
The Three Musketeers.
One for all for one. Oh, yes.
They have these things here, Gilbert.
So
One for all for one. Here we go.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Fabrizio has put together a really interesting work for you today. And, we've been trying to get together on Fridays to bring some idea of the importance of art, aesthetics, culture in our lives. And, we being Americans, Fabrizio being a European has a different mentality, but we Americans, we're very much involved in pop culture. And so when we bring something of a little bit of a higher level, it can literally change our lives. It's so powerful, this. So Fabrizio's put together a really interesting workshop for us today. So take it away, Mr.
Yeah, okay. So I was thinking about art. We speak every week about this. And I was thinking how, for example, paintings are important because they bring a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, last week we showed envy, right?
Last week we were showing envy. And I was inspired by another two frescoes actually, that are in the city hall of my city, Siena, in Tuscany. And they are two allegories about the good government and the bad government. And this is from the Middle Ages. So
this is before our current problems.
Yes. So Felipe, can we go showing the slide? Just okay. Richard Jones, Fabrizio Biliotti, and Gilbert Gambucci is our guest.
Our surprise guest.
Our surprise guest. Yes. We are like teachers at FA3, that is the Faculdade Trilógica Keppe Pacheco, and also we work at the Language Center, Millennium Language Center of Faculdade Trilógica Keppe Pacheco. So in our classes we bring all these topics, Richard, isn't it? About psychopathology, the study of individual pathology, but also about sanity, not only pathology, of course. And also sociopathology. That is another important subject that Dr. Keppe has been developing during more than 60 years of work. And today, actually, our lecture is based on this book, The Liberation of the People. And we have the honor to have here Gilbert and Richard, that actually are two experts about this relevant book that inspired Richard, to come here to Brazil. And actually it inspired me too. When I first read this book in Italy, I got really wow. I said, my God, this book is fantastic because this is exactly an answer to probably the basic problem, or one of the basic, the fundamental problems that we are living in our society.
One of the reasons this book brought me to Brazil, you guys, I had just moved to Ontario in Canada, and they just elected a new government there. And this new government was doing everything that the people didn't want. Right? People were like protesting in the streets. They were having signing papers against the movements they were making. And I was thinking, how can these government guys continue in the face of all of this protest? And then I read Dr. Keppe's book about the pathology of power, and it came clear to me, they're like pathological. They're like, they're doing things in a crazy way, not to help the people, but to sort of attack systems that the people wanted and the people liked. It was this book that helped me to understand that. I said, wow, I have to find more about this guy because he's explaining something I'd never understood all my life.
Most people realize that these powerful people are corrupt, but they don't realize that they're mentally ill.
They're crazy guys.
This was an interesting aspect. I was with Dr. Keppe in New York when he wrote this book, while he was writing it, And one of the most interesting theses of this book, I think, is how he differentiates between economic power and political power, and how these economically powerful people behind the scenes are dominating the politicians, to the point where most politicians represent these economically powerful and not the people. So really, these Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the Harriman, the Warburgs, these international bankers, they love it when the people attack the politicians, because that's what they have out in front for you to attack. And they, behind, are scot-free, laughing at us.
Yes. Doing what they're doing to continue the system, yeah.
What they want to do, actually, yeah?
Yes.
Everything.
That's a good point, Gilbert.
Yeah. So, I'd like to analyze, and then we can go on with all our considerations, because I think these two frescoes will be very inspiring. Yeah. So, let's go, Philippe. This is Ambrogio Lorenzetti. This is the painter, and you see he lived between 1285 1348.
About
so
the same time then as Giotto.
Yes.
Last
yes.
week we studied, yeah.
At the same time of Giotto. Yeah, you have a good memory.
Yes, I
Richard.
remember that. Yeah.
The same time Dante Alighieri.
Alighieri and Don Denis.
Don Denis. So you see that sometimes when we say that, like. The Middle Ages were the age of darkness. We said last week, we can perceive that it wasn't like this. The Middle Ages was actually an age of great development, philosophical, theological development. Don't forget that St. Thomas Aquinas belongs to this period, probably the most important theologian that Christianity has. And Ambrogio Lorenzetti lived exactly in this period that is like the period before the Renaissance. So we can say that in this period there was something like happening in society that brought artists, philosophers, theologians together around a universal thought. We can say universal thought. So when we see, for example, this fresco, we analyze first the good governments and then the bad government. Felipe, can you show, please? This is in the City Hall of Siena. So you can see that...
This is in the City Hall of Siena?
In the City Hall, inside.
See why we love Italy.
Yeah.
Look at that. What do you have like you don't have a picture of something modern. You have like an ancient...
And actually,
in
the City Hall of Siena, you have since the Middle Ages, the whole history, until the 19th century, basically, when Italy got together first, as a nation, because Italy anyway is a relatively new nation. Was founded in 1861. So let's go back to the slide, and. You see that, for example, it's very interesting, some details. You have a little on the right, like a king that is the symbol, actually, of what? Of wisdom, sabedoria, of wisdom, and of God, actually, the power of God. And how do we know that? Because above this king, you have the virtues, charity, the three.
Faith, hope, charity, right?
Yeah.
Faith, hope, charity.
Faith, hope, charity.
Yeah.
And inspiring a good government. So when you look around, you see like harmony, all around, and also below, you can see the people all together. And we have other details, but anyway, it's a kind of harmony. You see that, you perceive that this is a kind of a harmony. Of course, this is a painting typical of the Middle Ages, so it's a little bit, maybe we can say static, It's not, there is not so movement. But what is important, what is really, really relevant in this fresco is that with a wise government, with a just government, with a ethical government inspired by the universal principle: everything flows, everything flourishes in a society. This is very important. This is the importance of this fresco.
Fabrizio, was he painting this with the idea of telling people what good government was?
Probably yes. This was the intention. In fact, in the explanation of the painting, there are like the so-called consequences of an ethical government. Yeah, what are the consequences? That's balance, prosperity, wealth. Yeah, this is interesting. Wealth, because we live in a society, Richard, and Dr. Keppe writes a lot about this in his books. We live in a society where the pathology of power deprives the human beings from enjoying the wealth that is naturally here on our planet.
Absolutely.
So Ambrogio Lorenzetti transmitted exactly this message about a good government based on also the Greek ideals, the ideals from Greece of beauty and goodness,
democracy,
the real true democracy, and so on.
Little things like that, democracy. You know?
Yes. If you go on, Felipe, in the next slide. So you see another part, because it's a big fresco with a lot of details.
Beautiful.
So, and what is the basis? This is something that I think matches with the Keppian ideals. What is the basis of prosperity, of a just society? I ask you. Work. So in this, you can see that, I mean, we can see this really in details, but people working, and the work is the basis of this society, of this just society, of this wise society. Yeah?
People producing for the benefit of other people.
Yeah.
So you see this great movement now to stop all of the work is very pernicious, it's very dangerous. We're stopping our ability. The whole world is stopped, and so this has consequences. You know,
the being is action.
Absolutely.
Right? It's the essence of being. So if you stop the human being from his action, he falls into sickness. It's perhaps the most evil thing you can do to the human being is to prevent him from doing good action.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So this is what also this painter wanted to transmit. And it's amazing that this, as Richard said, this is in the city hall. So, the
like
center of power.
What a place to put it, you know. Not just in a museum, inside the city hall, to remind us of the true nature of government. Government, you see, can you go back one, Felipe? Can you show me that slide again?
Thank God we have artists on this planet.
Oh my gosh! You know what the feeling I got? No, the second, this one, yeah. You get the feeling looking at this that the people are free to work, free to produce. They're not being watched constantly or policed constantly. There's no cameras, of course, but no cameras around. There's no multas. There's people like working. This is a beautiful feeling of this painting.
Developing a job. And there is another important aspect, Richard and Gilbert, about this painting, that another consequence of this kind of society based on work, based on development, etc., you know what it is? Health.
Yes.
Health.
People are healthy.
So a healthy society, yeah? So this is so important. Now, Gilbert, would you like to say something? No, it's okay. So let's go. Okay. Next slide. So we have, because Richard inspired this, why Martin Luther King could be a symbol, yeah, an example of this in modern times, yeah.
Well, very connected to the virtues for one, right, and universal values. Yeah.
He didn't speak only for the black people, the Afro-descendant people, but he spoke for everybody. He wanted to get all the people together to have a good society based on justice, where white and black people, any kind of people, could be together. So this was an incredible ideal that he brought, yeah?
You know, it was the thing that perturbed him the most, that he said. The thing that bothered him the most, this Martin Luther King, was in the face of important issues, the indifference of people. You know, people who are neither warm nor cold, just indifferent, when really a reaction is necessary.
Serious
this bothers
things are
him the
happening.
most.
Yeah, that's right.
Serious things are happening, and people just turn off. And really, that's even a Christian concept. Christ himself said, you know, he'll spit you out of his mouth if you're neither warm nor cold. But like what? In between. It's actually a type of evil, this, isn't it? To be indifferent.
Yes, yes.
We were talking about this, Gilbert, last week exactly. The problem is not only the evil things you do, but what about the people that don't do anything? That are totally cold. Things are happening all around, and they just...
What is that?
What kind of attitude is that? So this is really something to think about. Okay. Yeah,
that's for sure. I mean, I took a breath there, right? So I wanted to speak, but this is for sure. We have a world that needs attention, that needs help, and if we're doing nothing to contribute to a better world, this is bad for us.
Yeah,
it's not a healthy state to be in.
Okay, so let's go to the next. Now we have the bad government. And this is amazing. And there is something necessary to say about this fresco, because you can see that it's a little bit spoiled. Yeah, the conditions of this fresco are not so good as the other, so it's very deteriorated. We can say, yeah. This about the evil government, the bad government, and so
as it should be.
So it's really something interesting to point out. But anyway,
it's even incredible that it's been that well preserved, because frescoes are a type of mix of egg yolk and paste and type of things that they used at that time, and they did like in sections. They would do one section and then another section. So even this fresco, it's actually, for how old it is, it's in good condition, actually.
Yes, absolutely. But but what is interesting that the other is much better preserved. Yeah. So this is some maybe some spiritual sign.
When we're bad, we deteriorate more. This is the idea.
But anyway, what is really interesting? What do you see in the center of this? At the center of this picture. This painting, who is ruling there? Well, this is called the tyrant, yeah. But you see, yeah, the characteristic. What does he have on his head? Yeah, horns. What do they symbolize? So if you go to the next slide, we can.
Hang on a second.
No, this is.
Go back.
Okay,
just a
go
second.
back. Sorry.
Are those the three virtues?
No, these are the vices.
Vices.
So
three vices.
In the good government, you have the virtues about inspiring a good, a good leader.
I thought it might be the virtues, and the evil leader is not listening to them. But okay, it's the vices. That's interesting.
And here we have the tyrant that is actually what? The devil. Yeah.
Clearly.
So in a bad government, what's the inspiration? Is the demonic inspiration. And this is not only a theological thing, but this is also a scientific thing that Dr. Keppe has been developing lately about the influence also, or the demonic influence in our lives. And this is a fresco of the Middle Ages where the painter had this perception that a bad government is like ruled by what? By the devil, by demons.
And by the vices.
And by the vices.
Yeah.
We can see the vices, the next.
There we are.
No, next. Yes. Avarice, arrogance, and vainglory, can we say?
Pride, I think.
Pride, yeah. And the three vices, yeah, that are ruling, that inspiring this government. But think about today. Don't you see any kind of similarity about the situation that was in the Middle Ages and today? What's the difference? Maybe the clothes, maybe the technology, but actually we don't see so much difference, isn't it, Gilbert?
Attitude is the same,
The
right?
attitude is the same.
What are the three vices?
Is above
There's
the tyrant.
greed, avarice or
Avarice,
greed,
pride,
right? Pride,
and vainglory, maybe. Yeah.
It's like a type of pride, I think.
A type of pride, yes.
Vainglory is like
Vanagloria.
be vain.
van-
How can you say
vanglo-
vain? Vanity.
Vanity, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
But you know what's really, really interesting about this is these are the vices that people don't talk about very much. People talk about the lust, luxuria, or gluttony, gula. They talk about those vices a lot, but these ones, more serious ones, we don't talk about so much, which we should talk about more.
So you see that, for example, how modern it is, because as sanity is eternal, we can also say that pathology is eternal, but this attitude lasts until human beings will conscientize these pathological attitudes, and this is something that actually hasn't changed until now. So this is important to see how art is linked to what? To reality. Because we may think, okay, but this art is a fantasy, is a big fantasy, this is not for real. But look at what happens today. We are in prison, actually, with this shutdown, yeah? We can work, we can express, we can develop. People, anyway, losing jobs, etc. So this consciousness is important to understand that what's going on today is a consequence of a very pathological society and of very pathological powers, probably. Yeah. So this is really something to point out. I think it's necessary. And what is interesting that this painter put this in the city hall. Again, I want to reinforce this idea.
Incredible. And they kept it there. They kept it there as a reminder
Yeah.
somehow.
Okay.
This
Yes.
is very interesting in the sense that this was just like a little piece of art history.
Yes.
And if you study art history, the medieval times, this is like the late medieval, and then what happened with the Renaissance? Why was it a Renaissance? Why did society suddenly change? And then it went into Baroque, Classicism, Romanticism, the French Belle Epoque.
Yeah.
And when you study art history, you get a perspective of contemporary life because you know where we're coming from. And there's nothing more clear about what is humanity than the study of art history. It really has a lot of value. If you want to know more about yourself in society, the best thing you can do is study art history. And I'm mentioning that because this is something I'm very excited about.
You teach art history too, so this
And
is
so does Fabrizio, and so does Gisela, our
Richard,
teachers.
Richard too.
Next semester, from August until the end of the year, we're opening our first semester of the graduation course, undergraduate course of arts visuais, the visual arts it's called, in our campus at Cambuquira. It's the first semester. We've been authorized by MECI to do this course. And as it is online, because of this unprecedented situation, we're actually taking advantage of this. You can take this semester course as a curso livre, as an extension course. It's an opportunity just for this semester, while it's online, you can study, you can take this course, and it includes art history,
communication,
painting,
music.
It's just an excellent course to learn more about where we are actually in history. And of course, always with the application of Keppian science, which really gives a profundity, more profound look on the situation.
I think you brought something really beautiful, Gilbert. The arc of human history, the story of humanity, is there. It's portrayed. We don't study it. We study the history of war or the history of economic battles, but we don't study the progression, the development, who the human being is, where we are in reality. These artists, they because they had a theological knowledge in the past, we've lost that today. Because they have this theological knowledge, they have this link to the story of humanity. who we are, that we come from here and we fell. And these artists are reminding us of where we came from, right? So this is really important. We didn't come from caves, for one thing, and we didn't come from an economic background. We came from the top of the creation, and we fell from there. So this art remembers it. What is art used for today? It's used for advertising, right? It's used for marketing products. We don't have any idea about this today.
And there is
completely.
I'd like to say something. There is something very important in the perspective of the Keppian analysis about arts. He states that anyway, behind or the basis of every important development in civilization is arts. Always, you can see in the Greek philosophy and culture, they had a very, very strong artistic movement behind. And in the Middle Ages, in the Renaissance,
even
in the
the
Baroque,
Industrial Revolution had these great
absolutely,
artists.
absolutely.
And you know, if you don't have this perspective, you're kind of lost as to where we are in contemporary society.
And who we are.
And who we are. Yes, so studying art history, especially through the lens of Keppian science,
Absolutely.
it gives a perspective that is essential in our lives. So if you're interested in this course, next semester from August to the end of the year, just get into contact either with FATRI, Faculdade Trilógica, or Millennium, which is the same thing.
We'll have our information in the details of this YouTube video so you can enter into contact with us. And what Gilbert's saying is it's a free course. That means that you don't have to take the course for a degree, but you can do this semester as an information, a way to improve your life, to develop your life.
It's an extension course.
It's a certificated by FATRI.
Yeah.
You know that Millennium and FATRI are the same people. It's we.
Yeah.
We three, we are Millennium, and we are the Faculdade Trilógica.
Not just us three, but we three are.
You know, the teachers. We're the same people.
We are the three
so
musketeers.
Millennium is it's a department now of our college.
So the language center of our
language
university now. So.
Okay. So just get into contact with either Millennium or FATRI, which is the same thing.
Yeah.
If you want to take this course, I highly, highly recommend it. It's one of the most beautiful courses you'll find on the planet.
I believe that.
And then I'd like also to say, going back to our frescoes, just one more thing.
Yes.
So you see the effects of the bad governments. You see how the artists portrayed things. So, for example, on the right, you can see a dead person. So, what are the consequences? Death, disease,
suffering,
fights, wars, etc. And you see the next also. For example, on the left, you have destroyed buildings. So destruction. And on the right, you have a burned field. So the destruction of the nature. Guys, this guy lived in the Middle Ages. What's happening with our planet today? So you see how deep is this analysis. When you are linked to transcendence, you can really grasp the universal elements. And and this is also important. I think these two frescoes, Richard and Gilbert, because I was thinking about also not only politicians, but I was thinking about leaders in general. I was thinking about the leaders in companies, in any kind of work environment. So how is it possible to build a nice work environment? What should the attitude be to bring this in the environment? So we can see also that these frescoes are not only, we don't apply them only to politics or governments, but also to our relationships in general.
Like a reminder, isn't it?
Like a reminder.
Don't forget, the virtues have value. And living your life in a virtuous way has value. Being a leader in a virtuous way has tremendous value. Many times I feel that people, they want to be virtuous, but they see that virtue doesn't get so much recognition.
Yeah.
And so they say, não vale a pena. What's the point? You know, everybody's doing these horrible things, so I'm just going to join along. I think when that happens, it's a real shame. When people lose their idealism, I think that's one of the worst things that can happen to a human being.
It's a very strange inversion, this, isn't it, Rich?
Strange.
Because pathology is always the same thing. Pathology is boring. It's always the same. It's just a negation of what is real, of what is beautiful, of development. You know, the real things are interesting. What is beautiful and what is good, what is really genuine, these things are interesting. These things develop. Pathology it's always a negation of that.
Always the same.
These vices, these vices, they're the same.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Now I'd like to go through some, this is an example of the consequences of a bad government, yeah? This is the, how do you say,
Tiananmen Square.
Tiananmen Square, yeah?
89, I think.
Yeah, it was it's a very famous shot, this one, yeah? Showing, the on one side the powers, yeah? And just one person facing. That's a symbol of the importance of sometimes confronting this pathological power.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the man in front of the tanks has stopped the tanks. One guy has stopped this earthly power because of his connection to justice, to equality, to human rights. His connection to that gives him a lot of power.
And the tank was trying to go around him, deviate. He just kept going in front of the tank, and he stopped the whole line of tanks.
Just fantastic. It just shows that when I ask the students, where's the power in this, many people say, well, it's the tanks. No, it's not the tanks that have the power. It's the little guy with a briefcase who has the power here.
The courage.
Because he's connected to something much bigger than himself.
So this is the power of virtue, that you were saying.
Man.
So the real power is when we are virtuous. Dr. Keppe always addresses this, and there is something also about this that this shot, this photo has inspired a lot of people. Yeah, so this is really inspiring. It's also a reminder. This is not art, but this is a reminder that our real strength comes from where? From our virtues, from our virtuous attitudes. Yeah.
Just last night in one of our arts courses, we were examining the statue of David and Benini's David. You know, this famous situation of this boy who killed Goliath, the monster. You know, he was just sent out there alone, an impossible situation. And of course, Goliath representing the evil of the people that were there. And he just had the courage to do it. And of course, these are works of art. We were studying these works of art. And applying Keppian science to that, we noticed that courage is very different from aggression. Normally, people are afraid of aggressive people. But really, aggression is a pathology. It's completely different from courage. Courage comes from being. Yes. And aggressive people, they're actually cowards. When you confront an aggressive person, you have to be careful because they're dangerous. But really, they're cowards, really. Yeah. So just one person like this guy with the tanks, or with David, with Goliath, one person of courage, it's amazing what happens to aggressive people. How it reveals how they are really cowards.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I hope that everybody's following. If you have any comment, we are. I mean, they are welcome. Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Keppe writes in his book about a true society. So let's go through a little bit some paragraphs, just short paragraph from this book. Gilbert or Richard, would you like to?
Go ahead, Gilbert.
Gilbert, you go.
Okay. Canadian English or American English? Which do you
or
prefer?
Italian spaghetti English. That's fantastic.
International.
Power must be the same as the power of God, which is used to create only that which is good, correct, and beautiful.
Yeah, look at that.
So this is exactly what the first fresco is about. So it's a very important thing.
Yeah, people in power should have this interest to do good
Yeah.
for everybody.
Let's
You know,
go.
whatever doesn't serve goodness and beauty is sick. If it doesn't serve the truth, it's something sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is nothing but the goodness. So if we if we are not like in a resonance with these elements that are like divine elements in our lives, we get sick, and society gets sick together.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Totally true.
So, okay.
The point is that power has to exist, but not in the way it is presently being used. That is, selfishly, to benefit only those who have authority and social power.
Wow, can you see how relevant this book is, written 40 years ago? That's like a completely irrelevant idea. Imagine if that idea was generally understood, right? That power has to exist, but not the way it is now, to benefit only the people in power, but to benefit the people. Imagine if that was a general idea. I remember when we were in school, Gilbert, when I was a kid, there was a big campaign all across the country of Canada to stop people from throwing garbage in the street, right? So it was a big campaign. There was billboards everywhere. We were being taught in school. There were garbage cans put on every corner. And it was all this big attempt to try to clean up people throwing garbage in the street. It was a campaign. Now in Canada, if somebody throws something in the street, he's totally crazy. Nobody will do that. Because of this consciousness. The consciousness is at a level where we don't accept that kind of behavior anymore. And it would be the same with this. We don't accept the powerful working only for themselves. The consciousness is at such a level, that's no longer acceptable. Nobody even thinks about doing that. You see what has to happen? That's the conscientization process.
And in serving other people, there's a power behind that. There's an energetic factor that takes place because it's in harmony with the creation, in harmony with the Creator himself, who is a servant. Can you believe it that Christ himself was here to serve?
Yeah.
To serve others?
Yeah.
There's an energetic power. That's the real power,
Yeah.
the energetic factor in that. People don't believe that. They think that these sick people up there on top that
Yeah.
making us
Yeah.
serve them through their companies, through their multinational corporations, we serving them, that's power. This is an inverted idea. The real power is in serving others.
So, Gilbert, you're saying that we first have to do something good to the others because at the same moment we are doing this good to us.
Yes, it's in harmony with the creation.
So this is totally the opposite of what many people are taught. Because many people, they are taught like, no, I have to love myself first, then I love the others. How can I love the others if I don't first love myself? That's a common thought. And actually, our strength, our real true power comes from serving and doing the good to other people. This is something that we should really...
It's beautiful.
I remember one time in a group therapy situation, there was a guy who was always complaining that he feels bad. And I remember Dr. Keppe said to him, Kasabi, if you want to feel good, why don't you do something good? And really, everybody laughed, but really it was quite profound. If you want to feel good, then do good. Did you ever do something good for somebody, even somebody that you didn't like particularly, but you helped them with something? How do you feel afterwards? It's something energetic that's in harmony with nature, with our nature as human beings.
Totally true.
We are meant to do good for other people, and that's health. That's our sanity.
Yeah.
Great.
Felipe.
There must be a gradual but complete transformation of all power. The powerful must serve the people.
So it is exactly what we were saying now, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the power must serve the people. Well, anybody must serve the others, of course. But talking about the powers,
They must.
there is a big inversion in our society. They are not serving the people, we are serving them, and there is something wrong with that, yeah?
As in the fresco that you brought up.
Yes,
Good
exactly.
government would be serving the people
Yeah.
in some form or another, or at least a little bit.
And,
That would help a lot.
Make a little effort, yeah. Felipe? So, now we have a little excerpt from a TV program with Dr. Keppe. This TV program, Stop 144. The whole program is fantastic. So when we suggest these excerpts, but you can also watch all of this TV program on YouTube on our Trilógica channel. Yep. So if you want to know more, you can also access this site. Okay.
Então, esse mal que o ser humano fez atingiu a própria formação social, né? A própria formação, vamos dizer, não só escolar, mas política. Veja esse cartaz aí. Lá em cima, né, Cláudia, que está escrito? Necessidade do povo, né?
Necessidade do povo.
Que
Aqui.
deveria dirigir
As instituições, os ministérios, a indústria e a agricultura, universidade, ensino e etc.
Agora, esse grupo aí deveria dirigir esses de baixo.
Isso.
Que são
Ministros, diplomatas, técnicos, professores e cientistas e etc. E que deveriam dirigir o presidente.
Então, o que eu quero falar com isso, né? Que o dirigente de um país, ele não deveria dirigir o país da cabeça dele. Porque nenhum indivíduo, vou imaginar George Bush, ele tem condições de dirigir o mundo. Ou então Blair lá na Inglaterra, ou qualquer presidente em qualquer região do mundo. Então, o que houve de verdadeira democracia lá na Grécia? Foi no tempo de Péricles. No tempo de Péricles, o que eles faziam? Eles faziam com que os romanos, os senadores, ouvissem o povo, as necessidades do povo. Então o povo dizia o que queria. E aí levava para o Senado, e o Senado então cumpria a necessidade que o povo mostrava. Agora, atualmente, os senhores notem como é feito, é o poder, um poder com todos os poderes, dirigindo o país contra as necessidades do povo. Então, é uma luta do poder com o povo, é um lutando com o outro. O povo sufocado e o poder em cima sufocando o povo, tirando os meios que o povo tem para sobreviver. Então, é sempre uma luta assim social por causa desse motivo.
Wow, yeah, guys. So you see that what Dr. Keppe has just explained is exactly what is in the fresco, with a scientific, of course, point of view, from a scientific point of view. So this is so important to understand these elements to have a better society, to live a better life for everybody. This is the idea, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that Dr. Keppe, he's a good guy.
Yeah, well,
He's got some good ideas.
we just try to transmit you something of this.
Yeah.
So you perceive that universal elements are in art and are in science, as Dr. Keppe shows us with his important explanations. Richard.
Yes, sir, my friend.
So Gilbert has just
Just the course he was talking about. This will all be in the description on the YouTube video. Okay, so you'll have all that information there to join that course if you're interested in learning more about this perspective, this arc of human history through the arts. I think that's really beautiful.
And if you want to know more about the book Liberation of the People, you can access this link. Felipe? Yes, liberationofthepeople.org. Yeah, I think you can download the free
the whole book
PDF. There. Yeah, the whole book, the free PDF version of the book.
And this website is available in Portuguese too.
Yes.
So.
For those that want to read the book in Portuguese, you can read. Yep. So, Richard,
yes.
Now it's the moment.
Now we have a chance to play a song for you.
Yeah.
We're only going to do one song today because we don't have so much time. And it's a song that I think you will probably know. Written by a great Canadian poet and artist named Leonard Cohen. And we're going to do our version of this, or try to do our version of this for you.
Just a second that I have to.
As we get the microphones organized.
Yeah. So
you can see, are you showing them?
I don't understand. That's okay?
Are you showing the words on the Felipe? Good. Okay.
Hallelujah, yeah? The song, Richard, is a kind of prayer, a sort of prayer. So we try to do our best to sing this song.
Yeah,
so
this is like a prayer for the world. So we'll sing this together. You can join us. You probably know some of these words.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
There was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair. She broke your throne, she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love is how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. But it's not the cry that you hear at night, it's not somebody who's seen the light, it's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. People, I've been here before. I know this room and I've walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch, but love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. Wasn't much, I couldn't feel, so I learned to touch. I've heard the truth and come here to fool ya.
And even though
it all went wrong, I'll stand right here before the Lord of song, with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. So, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Hope you like the song. Okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye.